I signed up to actually be a airframe technician, which would have meant that I would have been working on basically the exterior of the plane, or the non-motor technical kind of things. And uh, and the whole idea with that was I could travel the world. So that was my hope and expectation, was that I would be in the military and end up in cool, interesting places. On the morning of October 1st, 1984, I was asleep in my bed. My girlfriend at the time was also sleeping in my bed. And my recollection of what happened is very different than documentation that I received from the military. I'll tell you what my recollection is, and then I can tell you what the paperwork says, because they're two different stories. But my recollection was we were sound asleep, early hours of the morning, and the lights come on in our barracks, and there's a corporal that I didn't know before was standing there, and says, "Get out of bed." Well, it was my bed, so I didn't get out of bed. My girlfriend at the time, she got up, she was wearing her pajamas, she goes back to her bed. Then it was, "You need to get dressed," and the military police were there to take us away. I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified during the interrogation. They asked all kinds of probing questions, like, once I admitted it, it was like, "So, how often did you have sex? What kind of sex did you have? Um, uh, where did you have sex? Did other people see you? Just, why?" And then the other biggie was, who else did I know of that was also in a relationship in basic training? And so I said, like, I didn't know of anyone, because I didn't. When I finally received the notice of when I was going to be released from Cornwallis, my girlfriend had been released sometime before me. Can't remember if it was a week or a few days, whatever it was, but she was released before me, and she lived in Nova Scotia. And so I remember I just packed up my stuff. I had my suitcase. I remember crying. I was ashamed, or I felt ashamed, because they made me feel like I had done something so horrible, and I would have been amazing in the military. And so I just, I caught like a Greyhound bus that was right outside the gate of Cornwallis, the same way that I came in, and took the bus into Halifax, went to an airport for the night, and flew back to Saskatoon. When I received my package of my documents last summer, that's where I found out why we were investigated and how it all played out. And that's what was so hard, was to read that and feel betrayed, very targeted, and it was very, I'll say, innocent, from the perspective of, in our platoon, it was in the shape of an H. And in the beginning, there was only our platoon there. Another platoon joined. And the corporal that was on duty must have obviously been told to watch for anyone who's gay, right? And so she had been chatting with some of the women that were in our platoon, and that were in, doing their kit stuff, and had made some comment. And so the women said, "Oh yeah, well, myself and my girlfriend, it was," or, those two, kind of a thing, that they're really close. So I think that's where this woman started targeting us, and she started like looking around and noticing things, and we were totally oblivious that this had gone on. And to read to read back the questions or to read back my answers was so incredibly hard, where, again, whether I blocked it out after all of these years, but they asked all kinds of personal and probing questions that were none of their business, number one. Why it mattered to them, whether we kissed, whether we used fingers for penetration, whether there was cunnilingus, they asked, or supposedly, I don't remember them asking it, but to read all of this and to read our answers, that this is what is on my file with the government. And as if that number one, that all of that is bad. But to read that and just be taken back to a time when I was so terrified of being on my own. I don't recall ever being asked if I wanted a lawyer present or anything like that. But to read what they were asking us and what we said, I'm sure that I answered all of those questions truthfully once it came out, but to not remember any of this stuff until I read those books or till I read those documents, I just sat there and sobbed and sobbed. It was shocking to me. Once I got over it, and I would share those documents, like with my mom, like now, shared them with my mom and, and friends, and, they would just look at me and be shocked and hurt and embarrassed for me that I endured that kind of interrogation. Again, to what end do they need to know, how often did we have sex? How many fingers did we use? What positions we were in? All of that stuff. What purpose any of that served? If they truly, just wanted to get rid of us because we were gay, that's all they needed to know. Once we admitted it, that's all they needed to do. But they asked question after question. To what end? No idea. It would be so nice if what people could learn from the story that my experience and what I went through is really to stand up for yourself and believe in yourself. There's lots of resources out there. Again, this is now, 2020. It's a very different time than 1984. To be able to have the experiences I've had in my life, in the 30 plus years since the military, I'm very, very fortunate. So I think I do really think that what I want people to know is just stand up for yourself, right? And when you can, stand up for yourself or seek out others who can help you to be supportive.